You Okay, good morning, everyone in person. Good morning, Zoomers. Um, First of all, thank you for having me back. If I would have been speaking yesterday, I'll be asking if any of you are hungover, but hopefully, whoever was hungover yesterday is back to their full senses today. And hope you had a nice Purim as well. Um, just wanted to share a couple of ideas this morning with you related to the parasha, related to the time of year that we find ourselves in. Um, the first the first thing I wanted to share was something which I've often wondered about, and I kind of researched it a bit recently, and found a somewhat satisfactory answer. And I thought I'd maybe share what I found with you, and that is I don't know if anyone's a Balkora. Is anyone a Balkora? No. Okay. Well, there's obviously some of the trop are common trop, but there are other trop sounds or whatever they're called, trop notes. There we go, Niginot, which are less common. And one of those is a shalsheles. Or shalsheles is everyone's favorite. If you're ever sleeping during laning, shalsheles is one of those notes that wakes you up. Shalsheles is kishma kenhu. It's kind of a trip. It's a triple note. It's a triple hazer. And shalsheles, right, three times. So I teach bar mitzvah lessons as well, and I often share with the bar mitzvah boys that the trop, the notes, they aren't simply a flowery way of just reading the text. They are, to a certain extent, they act as punctuation as well. Some of those notes really, as far as I understand, their main purpose and role is to punctuate the verse, punctuate the psukim, and to give them meaning. If you just read them straight, if you didn't have the book in front of you, it'd be hard to tell the sentence structure. So really, the trop is there to give structure to the psukim, to the verses, to the sentence. Now, shalsheles is one of those notes that does a bit more. Shalsheles doesn't just give sentence structure, there's more than that. It gives a hidden kind of meaning or an added meaning to the text. Now, with some of those shalsheles is, it's more readily understood as to what its function is. And I'll share some examples. Now, in total, how many shalsheles do you think there are in the Torah? Not in Tanakh, in the Torah. Four. There's four in total. Now, the one in this week's portion has always bothered me. Because we have one in this week's parasha, Tzav, Vayishchat. It's when they slaughter the El Hamiluim, the ram, which they brought as a sacrifice for the inauguration of Aaron and his sons into the temple service. And that one just seems a bit random. But there's a shalsheles. I'll explain why. Because if you look at the other three times that a shalsheles occurs in the Torah, not in Nach, I think it's three times in the rest of Nach, but in Torah it's four times. The shalsheles seems to make sense. The first one we have is not Yosef, is with Lot when by Yismama, when Lot is being urged or being told to leave Sodom because the city's being destroyed, and he hasn't got much time. By Yismama, he delays. We say in the Animam, even though it delays. So Lot delays. Why? Rashi tells us why he delays. It's kind of the reason in the first place. Sorry? Not just that. Why did he like Sodom? He liked his money. He delays because he wants to save his possessions. Rashi says he was delaying to save his money. And therefore the shalsheles kind of gives that away. The shalsheles gives you a bit of a backstory over there. Lot isn't just, Lot is hesitating. He's being urged to leave, but he wants to stay. And there's a kind of a bit of a back and forth going on, not just in his own mind, but perhaps with the malach, with the angels trying to urge him. there's a hesitation. By Yismama, it's not just delay. Shalsheles, helps us understand that. There's another one. I'm skipping one, so I'll come back to that one. There's another one with whoever I mentioned with Yosef, and I always like to talk about that one because it kind of shares the human side of our ancestors, heroes, and that is when Yosef is being kind of seduced by Eshes Potiphar, by the wife of Potiphar. The pasuk tells us Vayimai, and he refused. He refused. And if you just read the verse in a simple way, it looks as if she has her advantage. And he says no, but the Shalsheles shares that Yosef had his moments where he was almost tempted, where he was almost there was a temptation over there which he was fighting. And Vayima'ain, he didn't just simply refuse. There was a back and forth going on in his mind. Should I give in? No, I'm not going to give in. Should I give in? Should I not give in? The Shalsheles kind of shows you that there was an inner battle going on in his own mind as to refuse the advances of his master's wife. And then again, the Shalsheles kind of fits in. There's another one I've missed. There's one I've skipped out before I get to the one in this week's parasha, and that is, anyone know where the other one is? It's in between. It's a bit of a clue. It's in between the two stories. By Eliezer. By Eliezer. Eliezer the servant of Avram. When he gets to where he needs to go to find a wife for Yitzchak, for Avram's son Yitzchak, and it says Vayomer, and he says Vayomer, and he says, and he's kind of asking Hashem, he's asking God for guidance. Find me, let me find the right girl for the daughter of my master. Vayomer. Now, why is there Shalsheles over there? What's one understanding of why there's Shalsheles over there? A nice idea I've come across is that this was a very difficult task for Eliezer to find a wife for Yitzchak. Why? Because he wanted his daughter to marry Yitzchak, but he couldn't because she was, I believe, the reason was because she was a Tanai. She was from Eliezer came from Tanai, and one of the things which, sorry. Not sure if Damascus is from Damascus. I'm not sure if Damascus even existed yet. I'm not sure if that's what that means. I think Rashi explains that he was like kind of master of the house. I don't think it's because he's from Damascus. But I could before he was born. Yeah. Okay. But okay, fine. He runs into Damascus. I don't think it's I don't know. We have Rabbi over here. I don't think it says he runs to Damascus. No, I don't. Could be wrong. Could be I'm wrong. I'm on Zoom over here. So anything I can say will anything will be against me. But okay. Either way, he wants his daughter to and for whatever reason, I believe it's because she's from the daughters of Canaan. She's not fitting for Yitzchak. But he's devoted and he's committed and he is a trusted servant of Abraham, and he's praying that he finds the right girl, even though it's not his daughter. So Vayomer, it's challenging for him. He's praying, but it's hard. He's overcoming some inner battle as well, and there's a Shalsheles on the word Vayomer. In this week's parasha, Vayishchat seems a bit random. It's the fourth time that we have the fourth and final time that we have Shalsheles in the laning, and it doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason as to why this says Shalsheles. In fact, it says Vayishchat 3 times. And for those laners, it's quite challenging. So you have to remember what note goes on which one. There's a nice way of remembering it. The word is Rosh. The first Vayishchat is a Revi'i. The second Vayishchat is an Esnachta. And the third Vayishchat is Shalsheles. Everyone's learning this week. What's a nice way of remembering it? So the question is, why? First of all, why is there a Shalsheles on Vayishchat? And second of all, why particularly, why this Vayishchat? There's another 2 Vayishchat in this week's parasha, and I kind of never really had a chance. I never really took the time to look it up until recently, just recently. And I came across a nice idea, which I wanted to share, and that is that essentially what was going on over here was that Moshe, up until now, he was kind of the high priest. Aaron wasn't the Kohen Gadol yet. What Moshe was doing was he was it was Aaron's induction to becoming the Kohen Gadol, becoming the high priest, and Moshe was kind of handing over that responsibility to his brother. And this was the final time by Yishchat when he sacrifices this El Milim, the second ram. This was the handover to Aaron. This was the final time that Moshe would do temple service. It's the last time that he was doing anything in the Beis Hamikdash before his brother took over. And from then on, it would be the Bnei Aaron, the children of Aaron, that would do the temple service, no longer Moshe. And again, Moshe, Moshe Rabbeinu was the most humble man who ever lived, so says the Torah. And therefore, it wasn't so much a case of ego necessarily. I don't think it was at all. It was hard because he has an incredible, he has an incredible opportunity over here to represent the Jewish people, which he now has to give up and he has to hand over to his brother. So by Yishka, he's shechting this, he's sacrificing this idol, this ram, and it's not easy. It's not easy because it's the time when he hands it over to his brother. It's a time when he knows this is going to be the last time he does it, and therefore the shalsheles kind of alludes to that. The shalsheles is an allusion to the fact that it's hard, it's difficult, challenging. It's not something which is so easy for him to give up so easily, and hence the shalsheles. I thought just to share that with you right at the beginning because it was interesting to me, and I thought it might be interesting for you as well. That wasn't the main thing I wanted to share though. You just had Purim. And I'm sure you've heard lots of different ideas about Purim. There was one idea which I heard in my drunken stupor, which I still remember. Someone shared with me on Purim, which upon reflection after Purim, I thought, something. This is something which isn't just relevant to Purim, but it's something which has some relevance to the next festival coming up, which is Pesach. So I'll share with you the idea. This fellow told me. And we'll see what we can make of it. And he asks the following question. It's on the Megillah. Sorry to bring back Purim. But Esther says to Achashverosh when he finally, when she finally opens up and tells him what it is that she wants, she keeps on inviting him to the Suda. She says to him, Nafshi b'sheilasi va'ami v'bakashasi. She says, my soul is my she'ela, my request, the she'elasi, v'nafshi, v'ami, and my nation, v'vakashasi. Again, another word for request in Hebrew. They're almost synonyms in Hebrew. There's such thing as a synonym in the Hebrew language. Every word has its own unique meaning, unlike other languages. But still, they are words which kind of seem to be synonymous with each other. And the question which is posed, what is Esther doing over here? She has an opportunity to ask Achashverosh what she wants, and all of a sudden she turns into a poet. What is she doing? Nafshi She's all of a sudden becoming poetic over here. What is this? What is this? What's she saying? What does she want? Just say it. Just say it. Nafshi and he says that what really I can't remember who he said it in the name of, this fellow who told me this idea. He said there's a difference between a she'ela and a bakasha in Hebrew. And I don't know where they get this from, but it comes from a reliable source. So I'll try and find the source afterwards. But a she'ela is something for the here and now. A she'ela is something kind of a short-term request. This is what I need right now. This is what I need now, but it's not my goal. A bakasha is something which is my long-term goal, something which I need not just for the here and now, but need for the future. It's something which is a long-term request, a long-term goal. What she was saying to Achashverosh was, "Nafshi b'sheilati," my personal life is in danger, and that's something which is a she'ela, it's for the here and now, but that's not my main intention over here. V'ami b'vakashasi, my nation, the Jewish people. That is what I'm most concerned about. That is what my long-term goal, my long-term request is. My bakasha is the Jewish people. Me personally, it's a she'ela. It's something which is important, but not as important as the future of the entire Jewish people. And he continues and says that we find this language being used as well in another verse, which interestingly has always bothered me. And it's not bothered me because I'm the one that came up with this question. It's bothered me because my wife had a great grandmother. She passed away at the age of. She was a she was she escaped Germany before the war, and I believe she lost every single member of her family during the war. And she was an incredible person, a really incredible person. She kind of was able to just begin life anew over here in the UK. She came from a wealthy family in Germany and ended up being an au pair for a family. I think it was in Manchester, if I'm not mistaken, who mistreated her. Jewish family mistreated, and she really had a very difficult time. But she managed to bring up a most incredible family and started again. But I remember she lived in Israel, and we visited her a few times. And couple of times I remember we were sitting at the a Shabbat meal, and my wife's grandfather, who was her son, used to sing Nar Hayisi Gamza Kanti, the end of benching. He had this special, the rabbi's, I don't know if you know the tune, the rabbi's sons. There was a kind of a group, the rabbi's sons, who had this special tune from Nar Hayisi Gamza. So he used to sing it at the end of every, that was his like tradition, and he still does it. And she would always make this comment, and she would always say, every time I think about this verse, I wonder to myself, was King David blind? No, what do the words mean? Na ra'isi gam zakanti, I was young once, now I'm old. V'lo ra'iti tzadik ne'ezav, I never saw a forsaken righteous man, v'zara mevakesh lachem, and his children begging for bread. I never saw a righteous person whose children were begging for bread. And she said, was King David blind? Did he not see what I saw? Did he not see all the suffering that righteous people went through, and not just them, but their children went through? What on earth is King David saying? King David was a wise man. King David doesn't say something which isn't true. So what's going on in it? Every time since she brought that question up, I wondered about it. And this Purim, I heard a nice answer. And the answer is as follows: that of course, we see people that are begging for bread. Of course, we see people who are righteous, children of righteous people, who seemingly forsaken, not, but seemingly forsaken, who are begging for bread. Yet, what does it say? Nar ha'isi gam zakanti v'lo ra'isi tzadik ne'ezav v'zaroi mevakesh lachem. It doesn't say that they are asking she'ela, mevakesh lachem. As we said before, a bakasha is something which is my long-term goal. That's what my life is all about. This is what I live for. Never seen what King David is saying. It's a drush, homiletic, but it's a nice idea. I've never seen a righteous person whose family, children, their life mission is bread. But their life goal is the material world, is their physical desires. That's not what righteous people's kind of families, of children, or descendants are after. That's not what they're looking for out of life. Of course, we need bread to live. Of course, we need food to put on the table. Of course, we need to be able to support ourselves and support our families. But is it our she'ela, or is it our bakasha? Is it something which we need for the here and now? Or is it our long-term goal? Is it a bakasha? And I never saw, says King David, I never saw a truly righteous person who's zarom mevakesh lachem, whose family, whose children, it's their bakasha for bread. It's what their life is all about. It's what they live for. They live to eat. They've never seen that before. That's not what righteous people bring up, which they bring up. I thought it was a nice idea. But there's one thing, though, which could be a she'ela and a bakasha. It could be both. Have it as your short-term goal, and it's your long-term goal as well. Something which I need for the here and now. It services me for the now, but it's also my goal for the future. And what is that? Another verse we're all familiar with. We say it twice a day in the lead up to Rosh Hashanah. It's in the Daven. We say, Achas sha'alti me'es Hashem. Achat sha'alti me'es, one thing I ask. Good. Osa avakesh. Not only is that my she'ela, but it's also my bakasha, shifti be'es Hashem, to have a relationship with God, to lead a spiritual life, a life of Torah, smart, a life of doing good deeds, a life of spiritual connection. That's the one which I want for now, want it now, but also that's my life achievement. That's what I really want for the future as well. And I like that idea. And I was thinking about it after Purim, after I'd served it up, and it meant something to me. But then wanted to add and tie that slightly in to what to the next festival around the corner, and that is, what are we? Are we mevakshe lachem? Are we living to eat, or are we eating to live? And to me, that is one of the fundamental messages or the symbolism of lechem, of bread, which we stay away from on Pesach, chametz, which we get rid of on Pesach, and we go for the matzah instead, is because to a certain extent, we human beings do get enslaved by that concept of being the vakshe lachem, of being people who are kind of almost our sole purpose in life is, when is my next meal? When is my next food? When can I next satisfy my desires? We are enslaved to that bread. We are enslaved to that sort of lifestyle of just seeking more and more of the material and physical world. We become mevakshe lachem. We become people who that becomes our lifetime goal, our life desires. And on Pesach, what we try and do is snap out of that mentality, of break free from that slavery, of become freedom from the slavery of bread, freedom from the slavery of the things we get trapped in or with in terms of the world that we live in. And the chametz, the matzah is the bread where the matzah is stepping away from that bread the bread of desire, the bread of the kind of material, physical world, which is not bad. We Jews don't believe that the physical world is bad, unlike other religions, which preach that physical pleasures are evil or come from the Satan or from the devil. But are they means to an end, or are they an end of themselves? And what we do on Pesach is we stay away from that bread for 8 days and remind ourselves there's more to life than the bread that we eat. There's more to life than the desires that we all find ourselves having. There's more to life than that. That is not that the bread is our she'elah. The bread is what we need for the here and now. The bread, we need to put food on the table. We need to live. We need to experience the world. We need to to live as human beings and enjoy the world. But what's our goal? What is our bakasha? What are we living for? What do we want to get out of life? Is it bread? Is life all about bread? Or is there more? Or is there more that we want to achieve? Or is it what King David says, Ota Vakesh, a life of spirituality, of connection, of meaning, and of purpose? And idea which I'm still kind of developing is something which I wanted to share with you post Purim as a kind of food for thought, no pun intended, but food for thought for Pesach, in terms of what are we breaking free from. And we talk about Pesach being Zman Cherutenu, our freedom. It's not just the Jewish people's freedom of some 3,500 years ago, but it's the freedom of us in the here and now, our freedom. What are we breaking free from? When we're not in Egypt anymore. We left Egypt many, many years ago. And yes, the Haggadah says that if God wouldn't have taken us out of Egypt, then we and our children and our grandchildren will still be slaves in Egypt today. But when we talk about breaking free and having freedom on Pesach, we're all enslaved. Every single one of us has things we're enslaved to, and things which the illusions of life that make us believe that is our bakasha, that is what life is all about, that is our long-term goals and long-term visions for the lives that we lead, and the freedom is to be able to see beyond that, to be able to see that actually that's not what I want my life to be all about. That's not it's the addictions that I have. I'm not talking about actual addictions, but the addictions that I find myself trapped, things which I can break free from. And therefore I wish you all a Pesach of real freedom, a Pesach of being able to break free from those we find ourselves trapped by, which hold us back from being the best versions of ourselves. And please God, not just those personal freedoms, but we should be able to see in Nisan, which is a time of freedom, which is a month of freedom, a salvation for the Jewish people, for Am Yisrael, for all of the Jewish people, to be able to be free and the challenges that we've been facing, since October 7th. And God, as Chazal tell us, the Nisan Nigalu, in Nisan the Jewish people were redeemed, over Nisan, and in Nisan Asidin Lehigal. That's when the future redemption will be. And please God, we will see that this Nisan. Amen. Thank you for joining me.
Amen.
Thanks so much for that talk. I will close off the Zoom now. Say goodbye to those on Zoom. See you all next week. I'll do the bracha.